Right in the first quarter, Caitlin Clark obviously being fouled. The refs don't call it. And then wonder why Caitlin Clark started off that. Look at, that's a foul on the Fever. How? But look at this. That's not a foul on the Storm. Then here we go.
This one-hit devastating hit did it all and proved last nail in the coffin as Clark couldn't succumb to this injury. But what next? Still no ref call, no accountability, no nothing. Only silence. When Caitlin Clark gets shoved to the floor, the referees just stand there with absolutely no whistle. But when she barely breathes on an opponent, they blow that whistle like it's the national anthem. This is not just bad officiating. This is targeted, blatant, and it's starting to look a whole lot like a seat-up. Because game after game, city after city, there is a clear pattern. The referees are not just letting it slide, they're helping it happen. And behind all of this is one person letting all this happen. And I am sure you all know that person. If not, then keep watching. You will get the answers till the end. The attacks are done very strategically and maybe even intentionally. So the question here is Caitlin Clark being refereed or is she being punished for fame? Well, let's peel this thing layer by layer, because the deeper we go, the dirtier it gets.
That's the only conclusion I can come to is they want it to fail.
They're calling hand check fouls on their biggest player. Could you imagine LeBron getting hand check fouls or anybody, SGA, whomever, the biggest stars getting hand check? Yes, it may not be the only reason, but it doesn't help.
Just yesterday, Thursday night, Caitlin Clark didn't show up on the court, not because she didn't want to, but because she couldn't. It was her 6th missed game this season. And the reason was, she had a left groin injury that no one even knew about until just hours before tip-off against the LA Sparks.
Caitlin Clark is now out injured with a left groin injury.
And let's be honest, this groin injury didn't just happen randomly. It's the result of weeks of brutal, unchecked contact. I mean, you don't play elite basketball while getting shoved every night with 0 calls and come out of it fine. Eventually, your body taps out. And that breaking point showed up loud and clear.
Play over the past 3 games, it is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark.
And that brings us to what happened in Seattle, when referees become the opposite of perfect. So, the Seattle game was not just a bad night. It was the perfect example of everything that is going wrong. See, we are talking about obvious falls that somehow did not get called, random whistleblowing on plays that didn't even look like contact, and an overall attitude from the referees that made it painfully clear that they do not care that Caitlin Clark is the biggest reason people are even showing up to watch. And before anyone jumps in saying, "Oh, it's not all about Caitlin," please, if this kind of disrespect was happening to a top player in the NBA or NFL, the sports world would be flipping out, analysts would be running segments 24/7, and league officials would be scrambling to fix it. But in the WNBA, it is just pin drop silence. Now, it's not just fans noticing, it's not just tweets and TikToks. In fact, we have got actual footage now. A very clear footage with legit 4K angles of these referees not doing their job. And honestly, at this point, it feels like they're doing the opposite. First, let's show you the footage so you get what this is about. So, this person named Mike dropped this clip on Twitter, and within a few hours, the internet exploded. Watch closely.
Foul, touch foul, touch foul, touch foul. Look at this foul. Nobody did anything, but if Caitlin Clark gets hit...
You see Caitlin Clark coming off a screen while the defender is all over her. I mean, just look at how she is grabbing her and doing a full-on shoulder barge. The referees, as usual, stood there, quiet, silent as the sea before a storm. Then, Caitlin gets knocked to the floor. Still, the referees are staring into space, like they're solving a crossword puzzle. And then seconds later, Caitlin barely touches someone on the other end, and guess what? They blow their damn whistle. and call it a foul. It's like the referees had the whistle halfway in his mouth the entire time, just waiting to blow it on her. I can guarantee there is no universe where that looks fair. Absolutely none. You would have to squint from Mars to think these were neutral calls. And let's not pretend this is an isolated thing. This has happened game after game. I mean, how is that a foul on the Fever? Like, what did she do? Breathe too hard? Blink wrong? Exist? You want to know how many times this happened? Well, I have lost the count. I am telling you, this has become a pattern. A big, sloppy, embarrassing pattern. These Kathy Engelbert secretly have a hand in all this. See, fans have been speaking up for Caitlyn since day one, and now even fellow players have lost their calm and are standing up against this violence. But there is one person who hasn't uttered a single word on this matter, and can you guess who that person is? It is the person in charge who can control literally everything. The WNBA's commissioner, Miss Kathy Engelbert. At this point, her silence isn't just annoying, it is a complete lack of accountability. I mean, this has been going on for months, and yet Kathy did not conduct a single press conference to address this. Perhaps it is too much trouble. But what about a post? Maybe even a vague, "we're looking into it" statement. But no, nothing. And I'm sorry, but when the league's #1 star is getting targeted, shoved, elbowed, disrespected, and referees' calls are actively ruining games, then you cannot just hide behind your desk and pretend it's business as usual. Where's the accountability, Kathy? Where's the bare minimum acknowledgement that your league is spiraling? You're the commissioner. This isn't some random PR issue, it is a crisis of leadership. And if referees aren't being held responsible, if players are being harassed, and if the league looks the other way, then that's not just bad management, that is enabling.
And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another.
And you know what makes this entire situation even more frustrating? This isn't the first time Kathy Engelbert stayed silent. We've seen this before. Remember that New York Liberty game? The one where Caitlin Clark got elbowed, shoved, knocked around like a pinball, and not a single call was made in her favor? The footage went viral, and of course, the fans were outraged. Even former NBA and WNBA players were calling it out, and yet, there was just silence from Kathy. And now, fast forward to the Seattle game, it's happening all over again. Missed calls, obvious fouls, a blatant 24-second violation where the shot didn't even touch the rim. And still, the referees let it play on like nothing happened. And just when we thought this couldn't get any worse, when we assumed it was just about Caitlyn getting shoved, hit, and ignored by the referee, Caitlin Clark's lawyers drop a shocking news: a $1 million lawsuit against the WNBA and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert herself. Why? Because Caitlyn was reportedly drug tested 11 times in one season. Can you believe that? While most players got tested maybe twice, Caitlyn was tested 11 times. She was treated like a walking security threat, while others coasted under the radar. They tested her like she had something hidden in her ponytail. And now, fans are calling it harassment, lawyers are calling it abuse of power, and the internet, well, it is just mad at Kathy, the WNBA's $1 million asset. Now let me ask you something. Are you starting to understand why the Indiana Fever are selling out arenas like it's 1996 Bulls Mania? Why has the Indiana Fever, or as the internet likes to call them, the Indiana Felines, have suddenly become the hottest ticket in town? Let's say you take Caitlin Clark out of the team for 1 second. I mean, imagine if she was non-existent. Would people still be showing up? Would ESPN still be broadcasting every move? Would TikTok still be obsessing over Sophie Cunningham's stare-downs and Aaliyah Boston's footwork? I don't think so. But there's something else going on here, and you feel it. You see it when that Fever game rolls in with more energy than half the NBA mid-season. It's not just because Caitlyn's good, it is because for once, the WNBA finally tapped into a storyline people actually care about. There is star power, there is drama, there's a little edge, and dare I say it, Here's marketability. So what does the league do with this golden goose? Well, they send it into a lion's den with no protection. The referees legit treat her like she stole someone's lunch money. It's a quote, "The league tears apart someone's lunch money." Opposing players get away with assault that would make an NFL linebacker raise an eyebrow. And Kathy Engelbert? She is in the corner pretending it's all just fine. Meanwhile, fans are watching their favorite player get tossed around like it's Caitlyn versus the world. And you're wondering why they're mad? Man, the blueprint is there. The NFL followed it. The NBA followed it. Even 5-star Franks gives the guy slinging the most hot dogs some perks. So why is the WNBA out here acting like protecting Caitlyn is optional? You're not running a charity, you're running a business. And if you can't protect the one player who's keeping this entire operation above water, then maybe you should not be running it at all. At this point, it's not about missed calls, it's about missed accountability. So here's the question. How long can a league survive if it refuses to protect the very player keeping it alive? If you believe the referees are out of line, type "call the game right" in the comments. And if you're tired of the sugar-coated headlines and want the real story behind what's happening on and off the court, hit that subscribe button. We post new videos every single day so you never miss what really went down. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.